What's up, you guys? Chase the Dark Sage here, and we are back with another video. And as you can see from the title, we are talking about Vinland Saga. So you're probably wondering, why talk about it now? Season 2 recently finished, you've had the manga in your collection for a while, and you never talked about it previously. Well, that changes today because I spent one whole week just reading Vinland Saga, and I gotta talk about it. I enjoyed season 1 of the anime, seeing the mishaps and journey of Askeladd and Thorfinn. Being consumed with revenge for the killing of his father Thor's, Thorfinn takes it upon himself to follow Askeladd for years until the time comes where he can exact his revenge on his father's killer. Honestly, Thorfinn is built different because he wants to kill Askeladd through a duel for honor because, you know, it's the noble thing. Me though, I would have came for his neck at night. Well, that all doesn't end up well when Askeladd strategically sacrifices himself to Knut, the young prince that Askeladd and his band of warriors were escorting previously. Before his death, he imparts words of wisdom onto our boy Thorfinn before he goes into a mode of rage to kill the killer of the killer who killed his father. I know that this will get kind of confusing, but trust me, watch season 1 if you want to get what I'm talking about, or just read the first 4 volumes which contain all of season 1 plus a little bit of season 2. Now, I love the anime for Vinland Saga in season 1. In fact, that's what really made me pick up the actual physical format of the manga volumes. Now, you guys know me, I like my action, and season 1 was full of it, but I gotta say, that's not what really kept me going while watching Vinland. In fact, action is the last thing on my mind when it comes to me watching or reading the series. I'm not saying that the action ain't good because trust me, the action slaps, but it's not the reason that I got really invested within the series. What kept me invested throughout the first season were the characters, lore, build-up, and much more. Vinland Saga, at the time, was unlike any series that I watched with its easy to follow political talk, great pacing, great character writing, dialogue, and much more. You can obviously tell by now that I'm a huge fan of season 1, but why did it take me so long to actually get into the manga? Simple. I was scared. Many people had told me after season 1 it drastically differs from what we are used to seeing previously within the series. I even heard some people predict that a majority of fans from season 1 will dip out on season 2 and that I might not like it because of that change. And I gotta say, they are right, but also wrong. The season 2 content, or chapters 55 through 99, is what really got me to fall in love with the series as a whole. And yes, I have to say it because I was bound to at some point. The slave arc is goated. I stand by what I said. But before we actually get into the newer content that I read and my experience with it, make sure you hit the subscribe button and like the video if you haven't already, and make sure to follow me on all my other social media platforms. All my links will be in the description down below. So, I usually have some type of like punny or witty joke to have right here to kind of segue me into actually talking about the plot, but Leif Erikson Day, like SpongeBob, because they had that episode and Leif Erikson as a character in Vinland. Wow, this is getting really bad. Make sure you like the video before you dip out from that corny joke. So I gotta talk about it now. I enjoyed season 1, but when I first picked up the manga, I was on the verge of dropping it. I don't know if it's because I previously watched the content or if I'm coming off of the high of my Stillball Run reading, but man, the first few chapters up until Thor's died dragged for me. I even thought about selling the series, but I decided to push through until chapter 54 to see if the characters in the story would still work for me. And obviously, since I'm making this video, they did. Now, this was easily accomplished through the great pacing of the story, with chapters not being too long for a monthly series and the story progressing along with the characters while also having a narrative that wasn't too bogged down by political talk. As soon as you implement politics into manga, them pages might as well be melatonin because I be in that bad boy like me. Now I gotta talk about my boy Thorfinn, the GOAT, because the character he displays in the first arc but then turns into in the slave arc, I'm calling him the kid because that's a baby goat, like the Lil Baby lyric. So is this why y'all don't come and check out the reviews? Thorfinn's character has been through one of the best character arcs that I've ever witnessed in manga. From being a bloodthirsty warrior bent on revenge to a slave who is trying to find himself and basically become a pacifist. Now, this was something I did not expect from the series. Yeah, I've heard many people talking about the slave arc and many people praising it, but I've never known any details about it until this read through, And boy, my body was not ready. Throughout the story between chapters 55 through 99, or volumes 4 through 7, contain the slave arc, an arc that follows years after Thorfinn's attack on Prince Knut and his punishment by being sold off as a slave. When we first reunite with his character, we could tell that he wasn't the same like he used to be. He comes off meek, feeble. What I really mean to say is, he's a his sole purpose of living is completely gone. He has been separated from his family and has no one to turn to. Becoming a slave and being introduced to Einar, one of my new favorite characters in the series, he's introduced to a new perspective and outlook on life and with a best friend. Einar gives him the perspective of someone who has suffered because of war and violence, something Thorfinn only knew to do before becoming a slave. Having Thorfinn reflect on his past crimes and suffer trauma from nightmares of the people he has slain, Thorfinn sets out to become a better person without resorting to violent means. Now that doesn't mean that he doesn't pop somebody here and there throughout the arc, but he was definitely getting his butt beat a lot in this arc. You can't do nothing but root for his goals because he's such an endearing character in this arc. But me personally, I wouldn't take this level of disrespect. There's so much to love about the slave arc, like seeing Knut evolve into his father. I love how the author does this for both Thorfinn and Knut's character of making them both become more like their fathers, who are both leaders of their respective communities. You can obviously tell Thorfinn's character progresses while he becomes weaker, but Knut regresses while gaining power. This dichotomy was something I found super dope. Another thing I like was the introduction of Thorfinn becoming a slave and having to reflect on the people he has killed. While these things aren't forgivable, it just shows how long Thorfinn has been alone and his quest for vengeance is completely gone and he has to dwell on the things that he's done in his past. Third positive, the artwork. Yes, the artwork is amazing. Fourthly, the easy to follow story. While it does hit us with a lot of timeline events, I will say I was able to follow along with the dialogue and what these characters were talking about easily. Y'all already know I can't read, so this was definitely great for your boy. And lastly, the lessons we reflect on. Like my boy Sam told me, this arc just makes you want to become a better person. And while there might not be a villain in real life, there is, and it's called my YouTube channel. You yourself will want to seek out this dream place that Thorfinn fantasizes about. A place absent of war and violence. And to see at the end of the arc, which obviously, big spoilers for how this arc ends. So if you haven't seen it, go, get out of here. Shoot, wait. But before you do that, make sure you like the video for your boy. Like I was saying, when Knut and Thorfinn finally meet for the first time in 4 years, and to see where each of them are in their character journeys, but both want to find a way to achieve the same goal? No, I'm not crying. I'm just sweating through my eyes. That ish is beautiful, man. And the lengths Thorfinn went to by taking 100 punches by Knut's strongest warrior just to speak with Knut? Okay, this time I'm crying because that was beautiful. But to close this video out with my final thoughts, I enjoyed Vinland Saga. I love Vinland Saga. I'm glad that my boy Matt and Sam really pushed me to keep going on with this series because these guys would hype it up when they were talking, and I always want to be part of their conversations when they're talking about great series. And I had to read this. The first volume, it was really dragging for me, but when I kept reading it, it honestly paid off. And I cannot say that I have read such a great manga like this. Now, I'm not saying that this is the best manga ever. I'm not saying that because JoJo's exists, but I really enjoyed my time with Vinland Saga and spending a whole week with this bad boy because I think I read about like 100 chapters within a week. And these chapters, they not just 20-page chapters. No, this is a monthly series. So to have that type of dedication to sit down and read a series like this and for everything to be so intriguing to me, I gotta say I really enjoyed it. But if you haven't already yet, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, post notification bell, like the video, and huge shout out as always to my Patreon pledgers for going ahead and pledging on the Patreon. I gotta say I highly appreciate what you guys are doing for me, donating on the Patreon, and I gotta give a huge shout out to the YouTube members for also donating on the YouTube side of things as well. Big shout out to Broke Boy Game because yeah, we have those physical editions of Vinland Saga right now, but have y'all seen those deluxes? I'm not gonna lie, them deluxes, they kind of sexy, but right now I'm not trying to buy them because you guys know that I move a lot. So moving those big deluxes, they wouldn't be so good for your boy, and especially on your boy's back, especially when I gotta carry manga tube on my back and all that. Thank you guys for watching. Dark Sage out. Peace. And happy Leif Erikson Day, I think.
Swear I cannot do no wrong. Why I don't have much to say? All that talking on the phone, but you never making plays. Playing phone tag, you're it. Pick up more bags, too legit. Swear I cannot do no wrong. Why I don't have much to say? All that talking on the phone, but you never